Okay, sending link going live. Okay, I got the link, Sean. Did you get it?
No, I'm not gonna. If you want me, I was gonna let you guys go live, or should? Oh, I can send it out though.
We're live right now.
Oh, we're live. Okay.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Let me see where I can. Hello, everybody. Let me see what I can. I think we're just gonna have.
You want me to pull it up so I can read the questions too, or no?
No, everything's good. I see it now on YouTube. I think we're just gonna enable the chat so we can see all the questions. So let's wait a few more minutes. Yeah, there's like 70 people watching. I think Ruben is going to enable the chat so at least we can restart. Yeah, hello everybody. Thanks for coming by. Don't know where the chat is.
I do not see it either. Chat is disabled. It says it's disabled.
Yeah.
He says he can't enable it at the moment. So I have a ton of questions from Telegram if we can't get the chat going.
Yeah, yeah.
From the community.
Plan A, plan B, just in case. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I guess we'll just start. We have obviously 80-something people on. So yeah, so let's just start. I guess it's been a very interesting week. We've had a lot of stuff happen, right? So first of all, thanks everybody for joining us. We'll have all of this shared and recorded so you can all participate in the future. So hold on, let me just close this. Yeah. So yeah, we had a lot of stuff happen this week. We had the brand new website of TokenPay out. We had EFIN come out there. We had TOKENSUISSE as well come out the week before, but we had a lot more clarifications about all of that. And obviously we announced a big deal with Litecoin. And what I wanted to do is actually kind of go over this, bullet point by bullet point so that we can, kind of explain to everybody what we're doing, what we've accomplished so far, and what's the plan going forward, right? So we released a new website. That's kind of the new branding of TokenPay, the new website. Already kind of showing some of the features of some of the products that we're working on. The main one is merchant services, which we plan to release in August. This again is part of the whole process, part of our whole ecosystem. Merchant services is needed in order for businesses to start accepting crypto. And then once we start to get the ball rolling there, we'll get, hopefully tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of businesses worldwide to be able to start accepting crypto. And then at the same time, while the bank is going through the regulatory approval process, then we'll be able to start integrating and allowing those businesses to convert, all or a portion of their crypto, right, to fiat or to euro, whatever it is that they want. So that's extremely important that we establish this. This is part of the whole push-pull kind of rationale, business rationale for adoption, right? I'll give you an example. So like Litecoin started, didn't do a token sale. So what they've been trying to do is push, trying to get people to accept their coin. Whereas in our situation, it's very difficult for us to do that because we're not as well known compared to an organization, a foundation like Litecoin. So for us, we just got to do stuff ourselves so we can pull people into our ecosystem. At the same time, that's why we're doing all these partnerships. So if you look at the website, you'll see a few things already. You'll see our team has expanded a bit. In fact, it's actually larger. It's just there's different segments and different websites that we're going to have, and each one of those websites will have their own executive team. But this team that you're seeing there is mainly the team that's working on our current website, merchant services, and anything really TokenPay related, right? The next thing I want to address is TokenSuisse. TokenSuisse is basically going to be kind of regulated registered broker-dealer. That's the whole thought process and why we purchased a 10% stake in that business. That business is allowed to do a lot of different things once it has licenses. But today, as of right now, it can do something called the issuance of certificates. So I'll give you an example. You could issue a certificate of just one coin. Now, let's say if you want to buy Bitcoin today, you would go on an exchange, whether it's Coinbase or whatever, and you could get your fiat converted into Bitcoin, and then you'll receive it. But now with the exchange, it's centralized. They have, technically ownership of the keys, but you really have no insurance behind that per se, personally, right? I mean, technically you do because the company may have insurance, but there are many exchanges out there that are not backed by insurance. They're not protected. So you're taking a lot of significant risk. So there's a lot of people, a lot of family offices, hedge funds, private, high net worth individuals that are interested in purchasing crypto to diversify their portfolio. But they don't want to hold coins. They don't want to have a wallet, a Bitcoin wallet on their cell phone. They don't want to have a Bitcoin wallet on their computer where they feel it's going to crash. They want to be able to have a certificate or a paper saying, I have rights to this amount of Bitcoin or this amount of a basket of coins. And they're willing to do that. Now, so what TokenSuisse basically does is it creates a certificate. That certificate requires at least $1 million of capital in order to be executed. That certificate is then backed or insured by a company that ensures that the company does its job to protect it so that they have coins and ownership. So they would have cold storage solutions and all that stuff in order to make sure that those coins are in safekeeping. So TokenSuisse would be in charge of going to an exchange or a private network to acquire those coins. So if somebody came in and went into TokenSuisse and they said, I want to buy $10 million worth of Bitcoin, a certificate would be issued. Let's assume that there is none right now. A certificate would be created, and then that person would literally go and send in $10 million worth of, a fiat. It could be francs, it could be euros. I mean, this TokenSuisse can accept really any currency. And then they would basically issue a contract, which is a certificate, send it to this client, says you have rights to this much. They finalize what the price is that they're able to achieve on this. And then basically that person would have the certificate. TokenSuisse would go out to the open market, start buying the Bitcoins, and then finalize a certain price. TokenSuisse also can charge fees for this type of service. They can charge a yearly fee, an entry fee, and an exit fee, just like Coinbase does. This isn't something that's not part of the industry. It's actually something that's been happening, right? Anytime you buy Bitcoin, you get charged a fee, and every time you sell or you convert Bitcoin back to fiat, you actually get charged a fee. In fact, it's 1.5%. So this is basically what works. So why is this important? It's pretty much an ETF. The difference between a certificate and ETF, which I want to clarify, is the ETF is directly correlated to an exchange where the user basically works with the exchange directly. So let's say the exchange says we have an ETF of the top 20 coins. Basically, you would buy through the exchange these top 20 coins, and that's it. There is no counterparty risk. Basically, you're buying exactly what that is at market. So it's just different mechanisms. Different risks are adjusted to who it's going to versus the other. Now, with a TokenSuisse certificate, the risk is somewhat related to TokenSuisse because they have all these coins that they have to manage, right? There's actually a management that has to occur. Specifically with crypto, there's actually a lot more to do than what you do with stocks. So this is why it's needed. This is the way it's regulated in Switzerland. That's why it's going to happen. So let's think big picture now. As we start to market these certificates, you can have, for example, a privacy coin certificate. That privacy coin certificate will, for example, have, let's say, 4 or 5 coins. Now, let's say TokenPay is one of those coins because we're obviously a privacy coin. And let's say over a period of a year, we are able to attract $100 million worth of capital, right? 100 million Swiss francs, 1 million euros, whatever it is, throughout the entire year, we're able to do that. Throughout that time period, whether it's buying or selling, TokenSuisse is obligated, obviously, because that's the terms of the contract, to purchase 1/4, or if there's 4 coins, 1/4 ratio of every dollar that it receives to purchase TokenPay. So if it receives $100 million, it would in essence have to buy $25 million worth of TokenPay, right? So same thing, it would have to buy $25 million of the other 3 coins. Now, if it goes the other way around, if the certificate dropped by 50 million and there's 50 million, they would have to sell 50 million. This is institutions. This is actually how a lot of these other mechanisms like the stock market works, right? When huge companies like Fidelity reduce their portfolio of a certain stock, that's what usually takes the market down and or up. So we believe that there's a lot of institutions and a lot of people are interested in this. And so we're setting up TokenSuisse to capture all of that. But at the same time, it's also going to benefit TokenPay because we'll be part of this privacy coin certificate and a bunch of others as well. For example, we can create a certificate of underdog up and coming coins. And, we could be one of those, right? Which, would definitely interest different parties, right? So that's basically TokenSuisse.
So Derek.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this is basically a way for custody for institutions, large investors who don't want to take the risk, don't want to take the risk of, if you're Bobby Axelrod from Billions and you got a $4 billion fund, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? You're a hedge fund and you want to mitigate, you want to expose your clients, which I'm sure they're getting phone calls for. I'd like some exposure to crypto. You can buy one of these certificates, get some exposure to crypto, but without having to hold Verge, hold TokenPay, hold Bitcoin, possibly get hacked, lose your keys, all that stuff.
Right. So, Coinbase announced that last week, and it's a really big deal for them. But TokenSuisse actually has been doing it for better much of 6 months. They had 2 other certificates that they created, and they started it actually in 2017. And when we decided to buy a stake and do the rebranding from their old name to the new name, one of the things that we asked them to do is to do a bunch of theme, certificates. And one of them is obviously the privacy coin certificate. But if somebody just wants to buy, 5 million worth of TokenPay, they could just buy the certificate, as long as it's all, if that's what the client wants, right? You can't say no. But yeah, it is the same thing. It's the same thing. It's just been done for many months. But we're basically going to start really executing and marketing it globally. That's why we.
Are they tradable? Are they tradable? Like can you buy them and sell them in a month? Are they for a period of time?
That's a good question, actually. The goal is, right now it's not. It's basically you would have to inquire with TokenSuisse directly, and then they would be able to do it. whether it's over the phone or email. Obviously, there's a process. Eventually, through EFIN, we'll be able to have them tradable so that you can participate. And then you would be able to use EFIN coins or TPAY coins to be able to purchase these certificates. Now, the limitation is that you will probably have to go through KYC AML procedures in order to purchase these certificates, because they are catered to a specific type of client, right? You know, in theory, if you're in crypto, you know, and you've been in crypto for many years, you probably don't want these certificates. This is not that market. This market is for institutions, right? So for now, no, it's not. But with EFIN, we'll be able to open it up to specific people that want to have it, right? But if you're an institution that doesn't want to have coins, it'd be difficult for you to be on EFIN, right? But maybe you want to participate in having a basket, then, you know, that's fine too. So the goal is that we will have it tradable on EFIN. Don't know when, anything sometime next year, we'll have it all settled.
Right. Okay, perfect. Man.
Yeah, so spend a good amount of time on TOKENSUISSE. I think it's really important. So now EFIN, so when we decided on building EFIN, so EFIN a long time ago, 2015, I had started with a couple partners, was actually meant, because my background's in the stock market, right? So EFIN originally was it was kind of like a credit score for stocks. So what I realized a long time ago is that nobody really knew whether a stock was good or bad. They would say, oh, its price is high, price is low, but they're not really understanding the fundamentals, right? So the thought process was to create kind of like a stock score, like a credit score, where we would basically analyze through an algorithm 5 different categories. We would analyze the balance sheet, analyze the proxy statement to determine whether the managers were doing certain things. We would analyze technical analysis. We would have market sentiment. And I believe the other one was just industry or something like that. There was 5. And so each of one of those had an algorithm, and then they all spit out scores. And then there would be a final score, which would be weighted, right? And depending on what was going on in the market. And then you would have a score. The problem with that business was that we spent, I think, 3 to 4 months, and it just didn't take off because it was going to take a lot of money. And we were going against, you know, the Yahoos of the world, right? And, you know, I'm an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur for, I mean, I guess I can say as a kid, but, you know, I've been actually doing real businesses since 2008. And, you know, it sucks sometimes when things fail, right? So, but we realized that the domain name was fantastic. Obviously, e-finance, right? There's a lot of different things you can do with that domain name. And so we decided to actually get it and to become a decentralized exchange. Why did we decide a decentralized exchange versus a centralized exchange? Well, we noticed that we kept on seeing all these hacks. And we realized that there was obviously a demand for having a decentralized exchange, but there was no big one out there that was actually doing a really good job. So what we decided to do was build an exchange and build a specific coin that would work within that exchange, apart from other coins that you can have in exchange. But why did we do that? Why did we create another coin? Why didn't we just integrate TPAY and that's it? It's a very good question. The main reason why we did it is we realized that one of the failures of a lot of the decentralized exchanges was speed, and really no motivation for people to use it. So if the motivation for people is just speed, then they'll go to a centralized exchange. But you're exchanging, when you do that, you are exchanging safety and security and ownership, right? With a decentralized exchange, there may be a little bit slower, especially in the beginning, but as we improve, you know, the technology of the exchange, it could get faster, just as fast as centralized. Then you have ownership of your actual coins. It's unhackable. They would, in order for it to be hacked, you would have to hack every single user's personal computers. A lot harder to hack 1 million computers than it is to hack an exchange because it's only one, right? So what we realized is that we needed an incentive and a motivation for people to start to use the actual exchange. We realized that people really like owning coins. They like the fact that they can use it for different things, right? People like the fact that they can have 5, 6, 10 different types of coins. We realized that that was an asset. So we said, you know what, let's build a specific coin with some of the same features that TokenPay has, because we obviously realized that people were attracted to that. but at the same time, we wanted people to have an incentive to use it every day. We want the exchange to survive. So we created this incentive-based system. So the incentives are, if you own TPAY, you will be able to receive free EFIN coins. If you own Litecoin, you'll be able to receive coins. If you own Verge, you'll be able to send or receive coins. Now, obviously, we want to reward people who are holders of TPAY. So the ratio of that is actually 4-to-1. So we're actually giving away 2 billion EFIN coins out of 11.5 billion, whereas Litecoin and Verge each are going to receive 500 million. So it's really an incentive, obviously, for the people that have been with us and are loyal with TokenPay to receive that. But we also have another incentive, which is a trading incentive. So anybody that buys and sells within the exchange and only within the exchange will be able to receive free EFIN coins. So that's a real important one. So why did we give away coins to TPAY holders? Why did we give away coins to Litecoin and Verge? It's the same reason why we partner on all these other things. It's very difficult to have people get on an exchange or people to move to a new exchange. In fact, a lot of the exchanges now are actually starting to change their fee structure to forcing new coins to enroll customers into their exchange. They'll say, we no longer will charge you, millions of dollars to list. However, we will charge you 150,000, but there's a catch. You need to bring us 30,000 new users to the exchange. So
wow,
that's what's happening. And it's because they realize that at the end of the day, more and more exchanges are coming out, and then the competition is about getting new users. People don't understand it's about cost of acquisition of a user. It's getting more and more expensive, right? So for us, it's very difficult to advertise today, right? You're banned by AdWords, you're banned by Facebook, right? You're banned by a lot of different channels. You're forced to go to maybe 4 or 5 big ones, and you're not certain, right, that it will work. So when we decided, okay, let's give incentive to the people, the three coins that we're partnered with, we're pretty much to some extent guaranteeing a certain amount of users to come, right? It could be 5,000, it could be 50,000 or 500,000, I don't know, but at least we're guaranteeing a certain amount without having to pay so much advertising to force people to come to decentralized exchange. So that's why we do these things. We don't do these things because we're nice guys. I mean, I am a nice guy, right? But you have to understand the fundamental concepts of business and cost of acquisition and trying to get people to use your stuff. If you can't have people use it, then there's no point.
So you're going to have Litecoin and Verge customers coming to your coin, but the Litecoin and Verge, not customers, but holders,
sure.
Coin holders. So, but Litecoin and Verge coin holders are also going to be rewarded by EFIN tokens. They're going to be rewarded by having the ability to have the bank behind them.
We're gonna have some other coins as well. We're gonna have like 50 or something ERC20 coins. I mean, we're gonna have Tron or whatever it is. We're gonna have Dash. I mean, we're gonna have whatever we can because we still want the decentralized exchange to work. So the incentive trading system or reward system that we have is for everybody to receive EFIN coins. It doesn't matter whether you own you don't have to only have those three coins. If you go on an exchange and start trading, then you will receive free EFIN coins. It's kind of a reward for thanks a lot for joining, participating in our exchange. We hope you enjoy it. That's it basically. So we have those incentives. TPAY holders get, Litecoin gets, Verge, and then everybody else can. So because we know that some people have TokenPay and they have Tron maybe, or they have TokenPay and have something else. I mean, it would be dumb for me to just say, no, you can only trade on this exchange, right? So we're going to have like 50 something coins integrated in this exchange. And then what's going to happen is if there's another coin that wants to join the exchange, there's going to be a community vote. You have to use the EFIN coin to be able to be on it. Just very simple. If the one who has the most coins donated to the pool basically gets in, and we'll do like one every month. And then, we'll just add, coins that actually make sense. So yeah, that pretty much clears up, or at least says a lot of stuff about EFIN. If you have any more questions, we can definitely address them. Then let's see, the Litecoin TokenPay deal. some of you may know how this all started. This all started from The Verge, a deal with MindGeek. I've basically explained why we did that deal, and you can already understand cost of acquisition and getting people into the bank eventually. You know, we want to have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people using our bank with Verge debit cards and Litecoin debit cards and all that. But why did we do this deal? It's all about cost of acquisition. Litecoin has a huge reach. They're in almost every exchange in the world by default. Anytime anybody starts a new exchange, Litecoin's on there. I mean, that's huge. That's significant. Whereas even Verge today, ranked top 50th, still has to go out and convince exchanges to list them, right? So for us, you know, you have, like, for example, Coinbase, it's there, it's default. The brand awareness of Litecoin worldwide, specifically in certain markets, is just really huge. And so for us, we see that as an opportunity, right? At the same time, we also have a lot of haters come out as well, which obviously has been, you know, unfortunate. But that's the main reason. Obviously, I respect Charlie Lee. I respect the dev team there. I think Charlie Lee has a lot of networks. I think that if there's, let's put it this way: if Charlie Lee has an opportunity or a deal that that we can work together on, you know, because Charlie has a totally different network than I have, right? And he can talk to a ton of different people, and then he can say, hey, Derek, come in and join me so we can talk about how this can work, right? Because there's a lot of things that I have that he doesn't have, and vice versa, right? So to me, it's more the ability to really bring in business acumen, business savvy to potential other deals that potentially Litecoin would be involved in, and or TokenPay. So I see this as a very deep level integration. It's tech, it's marketing, it's awareness, it's getting people to understand or know about TokenPay. I mean, we can't really buy all that advertising that we got. I mean, we've got at least 3 or 4 articles on CoinDesk. We have literally hundreds, if not probably close to 1,000 links worldwide of TokenPay mentioning us in 10 different languages all over the world. I mean, we couldn't really buy that, right? I mean, we could, it'd probably be really expensive, but the weight of that is really significant. So, so yeah. Now at the end of the day, there's always haters, there's always FUD. So I'm going to address some of those questions, because I know sometimes people always want to, you know, hate for whatever reason. So I'll talk about some people that really are just trying to make a big stink out of stuff. I talked already before about me being an entrepreneur and my track record and stuff like that. You know, I've done a bunch of businesses in the past. So to me, hold on a second, just remove this. Yeah, so if you look at my LinkedIn, and you'll see all the stuff I've done. Yeah, I've done a few businesses at the same time. I am a overachiever, that's for sure. I speak 3 languages. I speak Spanish, I speak Chinese. But my life and my past financially, and I guess doing startups, has never been successful, and I'm always trying. So even when I started working with one company, which was the robotics education company that I worked in, I kept on doing different things. In fact, there was 3 or 4 other businesses that I did during that time period that I tried to work on nights and weekends that failed. That obviously there's no need to mention that on Seeking Alpha. So for anybody to really criticize that, I mean, obviously it's just kind of petty. Honestly, you know, I don't really care, but I guess I want to let everybody know that I have a lot of battle scars from dealing with all this stuff in business, and it hasn't been easy. But at the end of the day, that's what you have, a more polished, I guess, more savvy, you know, Derek, right? And it's not just me. We have my business partners and the people in the team, right? You know, they all have some level of entrepreneur experience, and that's extremely important, right? I have a few more things I wanted to address there. You know, obviously some people don't really understand blockchain technology, so don't understand the difference between circulating supply and max supply. They don't even know what proof of stake is, so I'm not going to even bother trying to explain that to anybody that wants to hate. Let's see, what else? I'm not sure if there's any other really big things to address. So I think what we realized was when we announced the Litecoin deal, there was definitely a lot of people that really didn't like Litecoin, And then once the deal came out, they just started correlating to, oh, Litecoin is this, and so then if they're this, then this, entity is also bad too, right? I don't know. I can't say, for that. And, I guess the chip on my shoulders, I want to prove everybody wrong. I want to prove all those haters wrong, because at the end of the day, I know that the vision that we have and what we're trying to accomplish is not easy. It just takes time to actually execute. So to me, it's all about getting the right team and being able to execute, and then kind of going forward. Okay. I think that's pretty much it. I know there's.
Let me add to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like, I think a lot of people hate the fact that ICOs are raising money, right? So like Litecoin came out, they didn't raise money. Verge came out, like all these coins came out, and they didn't raise money. And I understand that a lot of ICOs are money grabs. I was just at a blockchain world conference. I listened to a bunch of people talking about it. Most of them just seemed like money grabs to me. I'm like, but in the TokenPay's case, you raised some money in your ICO, and you've used that money to build an ecosystem in 7 months. So in other words, you're a cryptocurrency that owns the bank. You're a cryptocurrency that now owns, and this is only possible from the money you raised from an ICO.
Right.
Owns a bank. You're a cryptocurrency that owns a brokerage firm in Switzerland. You're a cryptocurrency that's creating an exchange. And you're a cryptocurrency that's helping other coins. So you helped I mean, no offense to anybody, but without TokenPay's help, the Verge deal doesn't happen with MindGeek and Pornhub.
That's
great. It's to Litecoin, but and much respect, I own Litecoin myself, but because they didn't run an ICO at the time and they didn't have the money available, there's no bank deal for Litecoin without the help of TokenPay. And so like there's so many firsts. I mean, think about all the firsts. Like your TokenPay is owns a crypto bank. They own a brokerage firm. They're building an exchange. Like this whole ecosystem is and so you want to hate on ICOs that raise money. I get it. But this is an ICO that has raised money to build an ecosystem for cryptocurrency and is doing it. And they've only done that because they've raised the money and because you have a team that executes.
Right.
You could have just raised. I mean, a lot of them, 1,000 different coins have raised money and don't have a bank. They don't have a brokerage firm. They just have a coin.
Right. I mean, yeah. It's not to this is not about like.
And I'm not trying to.
I get it.
They're all super smart. That they weren't at a time when they raised. They had ICOs.
I think. And
so now for them to go and try to integrate into a bank, it's just there's no funds there. They didn't raise any, and that's not their fault. I'm not saying it's anybody's fault, but it's really cool the way that you got. What I'm trying to say is it's really cool the way that you guys are doing it.
Yeah, we noticed that there are a lot of people out there that try to do these deals just for hype and for I'm sorry to say pump, and that's not our intention. That's not at all our intention. Our intention is really fundamental, that we make decisions that actually make sense, right? So, when you look at the ripple effect, right? I call it now the compounding effect. It's probably a little bit better now. Is when you start something, eventually it starts to create more and more momentum, right? So for us, the MindGeek deal, it wasn't just about donating Verge for them to have it. I mean, it was very important because obviously it starts adoption, but at the same time, it attracted a lot of people to TokenPay. That was important. It attracts people that are in Verge to look at what we're trying to do and also eventually get customers for the bank. But the quality of people that we got from that community that helped us out. I mean, there's actually a couple members in that community that actually did help us with the bank because they were employed in Germany, okay, and had information about this bank that I could not get, that I would have to like pay a lot of money to get. And to me,
it's because you guys are connecting. You guys are,
but these people understand what's going on. They know what they like crypto. They understand what's going on in Germany at least. And so I was able to get information that really made me, made us more and more comfortable to do this. And I think that's amazing. This is stuff that people do not realize that this is the stuff that we do. And now with Litecoin, it's going to happen. There's going to be other stuff. I'm positive of it. I mean, I got invited out, to the Litecoin Summit, where, obviously there's a ton of people, and it's just going to keep on going and compounding, all of that. And yeah, people don't understand now. I'm working my butt off. Our whole team is working their butt off, and I think eventually people will get it. And it's just hard to just keep on, being on like a little stool and just shouting about it. It's just sooner or later people are going to just realize what's going on. So now that we have a deal with Litecoin, anytime Litecoin announces something, there's going to be a reference to TokenPay. Some way, somehow, there's going to be a reference to TokenPay, because that's been connected, and that's fine with us. It's totally fine with us. I haven't even been I've only talked to a couple media. Most of the media has been gone to Litecoin. I'm okay with that. People are like, well, why can't Derek be more on the media, more on the video? I'm like, first of all, they don't ask, so I'm not gonna, beg for it. But at the same time, like, let Charlie get his limelight, man. He's been doing this for years. I mean, he's gotten so much. He's been doing this stuff for years, and I talked to him about personal stuff, like, hey, how do you deal with all these trolls and all these people? And he's like, man, it's hard sometimes, and he's straight up with me. It's very nice to be able to talk to somebody like that, and give advice. I mean, these things are valuable. I think people sometimes don't understand, but eventually they will. So, yeah. But yeah, I guess we'll open it up for more questions. I know that we had a few.
You want me to?
Yeah, you can go some questions. I know there was a chat, but I don't know where they're going to be asking on the chat.
I gotcha. Let me ask you this. So I hear a lot of people talking to, who kind of are haters on the fact that TokenPay owns a bank.
Yeah.
And you touched on it, but explain, because I've heard you explain it pretty well, is you've gone and you've talked to merchants trying to get them to accept TokenPay. What's the problem? And that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants to be able to, I want to be able to take my Bitcoin and I want Amazon to take it. I want to take my Bitcoin and I want the person down the road. But what's the problem on the side of the merchant that we have to understand in order to integrate crypto into it?
I will go into a fundamental view of how the reality of the world is for a lot of small businesses in America, or worldwide. Let's put it that way. When you have a business, you have your money coming in, you have your expenses, which is your staff, your costs if it's a good or service, and then eventually you have your profit, and then you get your tax on your profit, right? I will say this with very high certainty, that the largest owners of most small businesses in the world, believe it or not, are Visa, MasterCard, Google, Facebook, and any advertising platform that takes away from the top line. And I'll explain. So Visa, MasterCard charges 3% for every revenue transaction that you create, right? That's from the top line. Now, what does that mean? If you're a business that makes a certain amount of profit per year, and you have somebody taking away 3% from the top, not the bottom, they're not, they don't care about your costs of your people and your product. They don't care. They only care about the top. The reality is that 3% is about owning 10 to 20% of your business. Like, indirectly, they own 10 to 20% of the actual stock in your business. I'll give you just some numbers, okay? Let's say you do $1 million and in revenue, most companies in the world actually, they do about 10% profit off that. And that's a very high, actually. So that's $100,000. If you do 3% of $1 million, that's $30,000. 100 minus $30,000 means what? 70,000. That means how much of the business does Visa, MasterCard really own? It's 30%. Think about that for a second, right? So that's what I'm trying to tell people, is that small businesses, they realize that there's Visa, MasterCard, and it's not them, because Visa, MasterCard really is the technology, right? The network that they've basically built, and then there's the banks, and there's like 4 or 5 middlemen that are actually charging fees that add up to about 3%. So with crypto, you're actually kind of eliminating that. But the problem is that as a business owner, you still have to pay your employees, your suppliers, right? All these vendors, technology, security in fiat. It's just the structure that we have right now. But over time, that's starting to change because you need to have a lot of these people be able to have different merchants that work with each other to start accepting fiat. So if you have a business that starts to basically pay employees in crypto, pay their vendors in crypto, then at that point they really don't need, to convert anything in fiat, right?
Right.
So
that's a long way off, obviously, right?
We're a very long way off. But if that starts to happen, then all of a sudden you'll have like a snowball effect where everything essentially changes. Now, I think what it does is it really just gets Visa, MasterCard to really rethink their strategy about certain things. Maybe they have different platforms. Maybe they'll have option A, option B. But when you're a business owner and you accept crypto, you obviously run the risk of having these coins and running the risk of the price of these coins, which obviously some businesses do not want, right? That's where TokenSuisse comes in and the merchant services business linked to the bank. So that if crypto comes into the system and they tell us, hey, I want you to convert it on the spot, like as soon as I receive it, I want you to convert it to fiat. Or they can tell us, you know what, I want you to convert it at the end of the day, or I only want you to convert 20% of it. I'll take some risk, but I don't want to take a lot of risk. That needs to happen. There's phases of that happening, right? So
and they're going to need that to pay their, they're going to also need that liquidation to pay their employees, to pay the insurance.
Yeah. That's correct. And
so you guys, your TokenSuisse and possibly the bank, is that right? That's where those come in.
TokenSuisse would do like high level merchants, like really, really big merchants, because they'd be able to do it. Because if they can do $50 million of a certificate, why can't they do $50 million worth of transactions for a large business, right? It's technically the same concept. You're still converting, you've got a client that comes in, gets $50 million to buy a privacy certificate, right? And then all of a sudden, they kind of, back and forth. It's the same, really the mechanisms are the same. The difference is for merchants on the small level, you have to do micro transactions, right? So it's different. So I think people do not realize that all of this stuff, like whenever you give away a percentage of your business. Now I said like, I'll say Google AdWords, for example. Google AdWords does not charge based on your revenue. They charge based on how much money you want to invest or spend on marketing, right? You know what the actual number is? It's crazy, but the actual number of what it costs to advertise your product on AdWords, and this is the standard rate, which is insane, is that for every $1, for every $1 that you spend on AdWords or advertising online, if you get 4 back, it's amazing. 25%, think about that for a second, right? Well, it's 4 to 1. So, but it's insane. It's actually insane. My business in China, I had 11 to 1 because I was really good with AdWords and how to work it. And I had a lot of other long tail articles, and I had some media, and I had a network of stuff that came in. But the amount of money I spent on advertising, divided by the amount of money I received in revenues, it was like 11 to 1, or I think 12 to 1. And people are like, how did you do that? Because, I was really stingy about spending on advertising. So people don't realize that advertising actually cuts into not only your cost, but your revenue. So if you really think about budgets, like actual budgets of actual companies, you can literally say that advertising companies and banking, to some extent, Visa, MasterCard, literally own 30% of the businesses worldwide. And I think people don't realize these things. So what's happening is the crypto is it's slowly trying to like give some power more to the actual people that are willing to take the risk of owning their own crypto. So that's what it is. So really philosophical and a little bit high level, but I think people, at least I think this is kind of the thought process,
Yes.
For why businesses are doing what they're doing and why they're willing to take risks, or why would they be open-minded to crypto? They realize there's problems, right?
Yeah.
And they want to take a chance. So
very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you have more questions, but I don't know.
You want me to go? I didn't know if you want to read them. Okay. So you want to answers, there's some partnership questions.
Mm-hmm.
So how is the McLaren conversation going on? Anything from their side of the deal?
I haven't publicly said anything about that. It's just been rumors. However, keep in mind that if we ever do a deal like that, whenever it comes to a brand, it's a little bit more about sponsorships and stuff like that. And for us, the only way that we would be able to do that is if it makes actual business sense. So, for example, if it is, you know, something like a McLaren or any company or any brand, the deal would have to be multi-level. It would just be like, okay, we would be able to sponsor something, but in return, we would want our merchant services to be accepted so that people can purchase and use TokenPay in your system, right? And we will handle all the conversions for you and stuff like that. So, some of these brands do not have control of their distribution. So I'll give you an example. Let's say I have a meeting with Nestle chocolate, you know, big chocolate company, right? I can't tell Nestle, hey, Nestle, go to all of your retailers and all the stores in the world that sell Nestle, right? And tell them to accept TokenPay. It's not going to happen, right?
Oh, yeah.
So certain brands, you cannot force them, or they will not do a deal like this because
So in other words, like McLaren might be able to do a deal, but it would only be if you went to an official McLaren dealer. They couldn't force like another exotic car company to accept TokenPay.
Correct. Let's assume the McLaren as an example, because it's nothing.
Yes, I gotcha. This is just
a hypothesis. If we do a deal with McLaren, and McLaren owns and controls all of the stores, then the answer is yes. Then they would be able to say, okay, we agree, you sponsor this for us, we will accept TokenPay at all of our locations that we manage. But if the answer is they do not have any locations that they manage, where they're basically a bunch of franchises, the franchises are only basically going to be told a suggestion, but not an obligation. And that is a problem, because if I have no guarantee that they're going to use it, then it's just basically giving them money, really, at the end of the day, or giving, you know, like that doesn't really do anything for us as a business.
Yeah, it's just a news. It's just an announcement.
I'm not. Yeah, I don't care. That, to me, I don't care about that. Yeah. See, that's the thing. People care. When's the next announcement? Guys, every time there's an announcement, there's a business decision that has to be made, and a relationship, and people that are behind that, right? And costs.
It's got to lead to something.
Yeah, exactly.
It's got to push it forward.
Right.
So I just saw in the chat, Ruben said, if anybody has, so if you're watching live, if you have questions for Derek, throw them in the Telegram, and Ruben will post them here. But one of the other questions, I'll do that while you're doing that. Any other partnerships coming up that you would like to tell us about?
No comments. We're always talking to people all the time. I think we have a lot to digest already. I think what's going to start happening from now until the end of the year is the releasing of all of our products and all of the stuff that we've been planning on doing. So the next one is merchant services. We're already working with the team for Token City for the merchandise store.
Okay, that was another question. So merchandise, you'll be able to buy TPAY garb and
September. It'll happen in September for sure. It could happen earlier, but we need merchants to be launched first. Because
so what does merchant services mean exactly? That's a technical term. I'm not sure, like just anybody.
Merchant services means that if you're a business anywhere in the world, and in the beginning online, you'll be able to put a plugin into your website so that you'll be able to accept crypto, and you'll be able to go to a back end and you'll be able to see all the transactions that were occurring, you know, stuff like that. So basically you have a record of
a store, or I have a website, I can throw a plugin button that says pay with TPAY.
Right.
And buy my crypto shirts.
Yeah, you can issue invoices. If you have a subscription service, we will not be able to force transactions from a wallet, because we can't do that. Remember, every time there's a transaction on a wallet, a private key has to be inputted, right? So yeah, basically, you'll be able to do like invoices, you'll be able to do just regular transactions, and the business will be able to track all of that. And then eventually, when we have a lot of the services to convert, the businesses will be allowed in a couple buttons, convert, right? As long as it's integrated with the bank that's with us, or maybe there's other banks. There may be 4 or 5 other banks that we could integrate, right? So for us, it's just giving options to people to do stuff, right? So yeah, that's what merchant services is. And then after that, we have, in September, we'll launch Token City, which will be the merchandise store. We're working with a team that's already been doing it, and they've been in the crypto space for a while. So very happy about that deal. We plan on releasing a new version of the Android and a new version of the iOS. That's actually going to be very extensive wallet. It's not like the version that we have now. That's just like simple send, receive. It's going to be extremely extensive, where you'll be able to like search all the merchants worldwide that are accepting TokenPay. You have a couple of like links to some of the stuff that we have. You have a link to the exchange.
Oh, wow.
It'll be a little bit more interactive, right? And it'll have a lot more information. So that way you're more in tune to what's going on with TokenPay. Anytime there's new news, we'll push it straight to the app, right? So we'll be able to start educating people and stuff like that about what's going on. If there's a new deal, if there's a business that has a coupon that's right by the area, we'll be able to push it, because it's for TPAY holders, right? The whole point is to like, let's start integrating more of our ecosystem. So this is also an advantage for a merchant, right? If they want to be able, if we have 100,000 downloads, we can tell merchants worldwide, hey, listen, if you want to have access to 100,000 people worldwide, that go to your store, maybe it's an online store that sells other stuff, then they can just sign up and accept our merchant services plugin, right? Again, every time we do something, it's always about bringing it all kind of together. And then October, November, December, we have EFIN, and then a couple other stuff that we are working on now. I just don't want to announce the actual date. I hate doing that. Tech teams hate doing that, and I respect that. So yeah, pretty much every month, more or less, we're going to have the ecosystem come out little by little. And I think that's the plan.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
All right, I got a question from Desolator from Telegram.
Okay, I think he does the memes. He does a lot of memes.
Yeah, Desolator. Okay, so you're talking about blockchain projects right now. So more info about the newly acquired block size. How many people are working for them, and what are their projects?
Yeah, good question. So block size is a new name. We actually bought that domain name for a lot of money, like $20,000, $30,000. We like that name a lot. Obviously, it's for the industry. They're an existing development company that was based out of Central and South America. We know the owner very well from just a couple projects that we've worked with him in the past. And we decided to get his company and rebrand it. And we have obviously a new, obviously an acquisition structure that we've created. And so that business is, or Blocks is the part of the team that's actually helping with EFIN, the EFIN coin, the EFIN decentralized exchange. But they're also going to be doing a lot of stuff with us. One of the things that we're noticing in the real world, not so much the crypto world, is that a lot of businesses are interested in using blockchain technology, right, inside their business to improve operating costs or whatever it is, right? And so what we decided to do is to form this business together because obviously we have a lot of people that are interested, a lot of relationships with merchants, right? Remember, businesses, it's all about keeping it in-house, right? A lot of businesses are interested in potentially using blockchain technology. And so if a business comes to us or we have products and services that BlockSize will be able to offer, we can pitch all those companies, right? So remember, blockchain still is in its infancy. I mean, even though Bitcoin's been around for 8 years, the reality is the actual technology itself is just starting, right? So this team really is dedicated to learning and building blockchain solutions for businesses. So to give you an example, a competitor would be like an IBM. So they're pseudo consultants, right? They would go into a business, they would say, listen, we've got this solution for you guys that would be able to reduce operating costs. Maybe we can implement smart contracts so that you don't really need to have all these middlemen in your business right now, right? Maybe you have sales associates and you don't need 100 of them. We can reduce it to 50 just by integrating these following things, right? So there's a lot of different opportunities. I'm actually working with the team on a weekly basis, talking about all the products and solutions that they can offer, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it. They're just really a tech team that's going to help us do that. And when those customers pay, I mean, we'll be able to accept fiat, but at the end of the day, force them to accept TokenPay, right? So that way, you know, it stays within our ecosystem.
Do you know how many people work for Blocksize?
Yeah, there's about 9 right now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, got a question from Chinaman. This is a Telegram name, guys. Which coins institutions would Derek love to work with after Litecoin to work with, or maybe to acquire a stake in the bank? And then he said we're going to do 1 or 2 more questions.
Sure. Good question. So we're always looking at talking to all different types of coins and ecosystems, or people who have very large communities. For me, it's all about large communities that are very engaging and active, not like just communities that are just filled with you know, just traders and stuff like that. I want people that are really into it, understand and follow it. That's why we like Verge. You know, Litecoin's been around longer, so it's a little bit different. So we're not talking to anybody right now, but when we do, we'll do. And if we make a deal, it's got to make sense for everybody, right? I think the next question was what? I lost track.
It was the same. It was the same thing, but to work with or to maybe acquire a stake in the bank.
Yeah. So we are actually talking to some other companies.
Are they coins? Or are they?
No, they're
okay.
No, they're not. We're talking to. We've been talking and talking in the sense of going back and forth. You know, with a few exchanges that are interested in purchasing a stake in the bank. We've been also reaching out to traditional investors, strategic investors that we think that would be, for example, beneficial to join us in having a stake in the bank. It's not about money right now. It's about operational and strategic purpose, right? So if there is, for example, an exchange that wanted to buy a stake, they could help us with a lot of things, right? Maybe they can help us with recruiting customers, you know, an exchange. Some exchanges have millions of customers, right? So for us, that's a huge thing for us, right? But at the same time, they have a lot of knowledge with KYC and AML, specifically with crypto space. They could help us, and, you know, much faster than if we, you know, like we could learn all of this, right? And we could do our own version and stuff like that. But if we have another person or another entity, right, that really has so much knowledge, right, that they're able to help us speed the learning curve, then why not, right? So, you know, that's why we did Charlie Lee, right? That's why we did Litecoin Foundation. They have that for the tech side, right? They're going to help us with that. And I think that's great. And then we'll keep on looking at other stuff. So
it's pretty exciting, man, because I know exchanges need liquidity.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, they need bank accounts. That's for sure.
They do, yeah.
Okay, so next question's from Carlo. And it says, is there some kind of meeting somewhere, kind of like you guys had in Amsterdam, to do the kickoff in Q4?
No, we have no plans for that.
Okay.
I think right now our team really is focused on executing a lot of the ecosystem and not too much on partying. We had a good time already with the Verge meetup, and I think that was nice. That was in June. That's like only been a month, and yeah. So I think people want us to party already. No, we're not ready to party yet. I think you know, if something comes up, we'll definitely do it. But I don't want to be in Amsterdam in December or November. It's too cold. So I think if I do that again, I'd probably do it maybe in May or June, or somewhere else. You know, maybe we'll do somewhere a little bit warmer. We'll let everybody know. If there's something, we'll let everybody know. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Question 4 from Tito. What is your opinion about the rumor of Binance starting up a decentralized bank in Malta?
That'll be very interesting and very difficult to do. It'll take I think it'll take a while. I think Malta definitely is very progressive, and that's because they're kind of like an underdog, right? They got to do like a lot of different things. They've been doing different things, for example, in the gambling space. That's why they're famous or infamous for that industry. And I think that they're really pushing the envelope. And I really wish them the best. I think that'd be great. However, it's going to be a challenge because the issue is not so much them doing it. The issue is which bank that helps support them in the EU will want to do business with them, right? Do you know what I mean? Like if you're a bank in Malta and you want to send a wire from Malta bank account to somebody in the EU, you need to have corresponding banking relationships in order for that to occur. So the only way to do it is on the central government side. So Malta central government may be able to have a deal with the German central government, but We don't know if that's the case. And then if they allow it, then basically they'll allow all the businesses in all of Malta, which some of them do not have great reputations, allow that. And I think that's the concern, is that you're looking at a lot of different things. I think there was a question about the regulators. I think it went very well, but there's still a process. It's going to.
So you're talking about the regulators with your German bank?
Yeah, I mean,
okay. Yeah, there was.
Yeah, we talked to our head of supervisory board, York. He's the one that went, and so it went well. It just takes time. I think they're just understanding the thought process of what's going on, more or less. But we're optimistic. So
So this is the regulation for you to buy the remaining 82%.
Correct. Right. It's going to be 70.2 because.
So just to play devil's advocate, you don't get. Let's just say you didn't get approved for some reason. Do you still get to keep your 9.9%?
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
If that were to occur, which I hope, knock on wood, and hope it doesn't happen, basically we would basically have a few options. One of them would be to sell stakes to 8 or 6 other entities that are not related to us. They cannot be related to us. They have to be separate. So if you wanted to buy a stake, it would be you individually and a bunch of other people or companies that would do it. And then collectively, we would all have to, vote, for what's the future of the bank and stuff like that. So, but when you have control, when you have control of anything, right? This is just like anything. You could do stuff, you have to have a vote every time, right? Yeah, if you have 10 people in a room and you have to make a decision, you have to get, Robert's Rules of Order, which is a kind of a procedure for, you have to have quorum +1 or 50 +1, right? Or 60% in order for anything to get passed, unless the rules state in your bylaws that it's 67% or 100%. It's got to be unanimous, right? So in business, it's usually the majority, right?
Yeah.
But if you 10 people and 10% is doing all the work and the other 9 are like, no, then it doesn't matter, right? So anyway, the goal is to obviously, go through the process. So that's it.
How long does that process take generally? Do you know? Is it up in the air?
I can't really say. It really depends on regulators and comfort and stuff like that. Could be 6 months, could be a year, but there's a process. I mean, I think we're doing whatever we can to make it as quick as possible, but we can't force them. I mean, if you do, I don't know. I think, they're definitely more measured, right? They're very measured about making decisions, and that's what I respect about Germany and why we did it. I mean, I think we're comfortable because we see other banks in Germany already starting to do stuff with crypto. So I think that's why we're much more optimistic.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, than doing that in maybe the States or something. And the States does have banks already doing stuff, but not entirely what we more or less want to do.
Wow. So it looks like that was the last question.
Yeah,
I don't know what you want, maybe talk about. So I remember reading the white paper in December, okay? When I first got into this thing, and you had a crap load of stuff in there. And I thought, if these guys can do 1/8 of this, they'll have done a hell of a job. And you've done everything in that white paper.
Yeah.
And it's more. Obviously, it's more than that.
Yeah, we were starting to execute on the merchants, right? The banking, we've already started to show that we've done that acquisition. Obviously, when the debit card comes in, that's, we've told everybody it's going to take time, right? But you're right. We actually did a lot more. We actually added more things to it, right? I mean, nobody expected a deal with Litecoin. Nobody expected this thing with Verge, right? There's a bunch of other stuff that we've announced and planning on doing. Nobody expected a deal with like the block size, token gaming, right? I mean, all of these entities that we started to build around, right? I mean, yeah, we're doing more. I think our mantra really is to under promise and over deliver. And I think what happens is sometimes people really put all these crazy expectations and stuff, and really sometimes it's not motivating to the team because it's like, wow, we're working so hard, and people are making these assumptions. But you know what? This is the type of people that we are. We're going to keep working hard, and we're going to keep on executing. And I think that's the way I like to sleep well at night, knowing that that's what I did, right? So but so far I'm really happy with all the people that have helped us out. That's been huge. I'm really happy with all the supporters. I think that's extremely important. I think eventually everybody will will reap the rewards. And I don't mean, you know, price rewards. I mean rewards of being able to actually use our ecosystem and actually be able to like enjoy using it and seeing, wow, what did these guys really build? And they're gonna reap.
It's like a real thing.
A real thing, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I know. I mean, there's already been 2 cars sold for TPAY.
Yeah. Cars are being
a house for sale. If I had a little bit more, I could get that. But we need the price to go up. But get that house in England. There's a house in England for sale for TokenPay. Well, dude, that's pretty cool.
There's a lot of stuff that's been for sale.
No, I know, but I'm just saying those are big items. Like
yeah. I mean, the fact that we got cars for sale, that's amazing, right? I mean, that was one of our Telegram admins, Paolo, that actually did that, and you know, and we didn't force it. You know,
no.
I think it just goes to show you, people, there's definitely a demand, and I think that's fantastic. And I can't wait for people to start really using the merchant services and start really using it to buy real stuff, right? I mean, I would love to be able to go to a restaurant or go somewhere, anywhere in the world, and be like, yeah, cool, I use, you know, TokenPay. That's
little
awesome.
TokenPay sticker in the window.
Yeah, TPAY accepted here, whatever it is, right? And
like hey, you mentioned one time, how many merchants did you want to get in? I saw it one time in Telegram. You said that, like, do you remember how many?
That's internal. I don't want to say it. It's an expectation. I want a lot. Let's put it that way. But it's going to require a lot of people to help us out. It's going to require the TokenPay community, the Verge community, the Litecoin community to help us out, but people even outside the community. So what we want to do for merchant services is have kind of like an affiliate system / gamified system, so that people can start helping us talk about this to businesses worldwide, providing and providing an incentive for them to do it, right? Maybe it's some EFIN coins, maybe it's some TokenPay prizes or TokenPay merchandise or TokenPay exclusive events, or even some TokenPay.
That's what Coinbase does. Coinbase.
Yeah, they gave away I think a 1 Bitcoin at one time or something like that.
No, well, also like they got a referral system. If you click on my link, $10. If you buy $100 of Bitcoin, I get $10 and you get $10. I mean,
so why can't we do the merchants, right? There's a lot of money though, so you have to be careful because it's capital, right? It's actually real money. So to me, it's not the difference between Coinbase and us is that Coinbase is relied on, for example, an individual making transactions and trading, right? So you only have to deal with that one person. When you're dealing with a business, you have to deal with the owner, the financial person, and the tech person, and understanding how you're going to help them all the way down from accepting to receiving the fiat, right? And so there's a little bit longer time. So what I don't want is 100,000 businesses signed up but nobody using it. What I would rather have is 10,000 businesses signed up and all of them using it, at least one transaction a month, right? Because that's when I know that real adoptions are happening, right? It's not like this headline number that says, you know, 100,000 companies accept TokenPay. That really doesn't do anything
if nobody's really using it.
It's just at that point it's actually misleading, and you have to be really careful. So for us, we're going to have a process and a system so that we do that, and also we'll be able to track transactions. So if, you know, we'll see which businesses are working. Maybe there's industries that are accepting it better than others, right? Maybe there's marketing companies that are going to use it better than, let's say, a restaurant. Maybe a restaurant won't do it for whatever reason, right? And then we'll just go all in. It's like, well, we realize that this industry is great. Well, I guess we should have all of our resources focused on this industry, and then go, right? And then conquer that, and then go to the next one, and then go to the next one, and go to the next one, right? So we don't know yet. We'll find out real quick in a couple of months, you know, what the industries are, and then we'll just kind of hit it hard from there. So, but yeah, all right, guys. Well, thanks. I hope I addressed everything. Wanted to, you know, it's been a very busy week. Hopefully next time we talk, try to get some other people on board. Like to do one with Charlie Lee, so we'll definitely try to get that one sometime next week or this month. Okay. So thanks everybody for your time. Appreciate it, and talk to you in Telegram or wherever it is. Okay. Thanks.
Peace out.
All right. Bye-bye.